You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. You're listening to, of course, the number one Millwall podcast. I was trying to find the right word sitting in the pre-match lull, listeners, trying to find the right word to describe the den at the moment. I don't know if you could ever say the den is pensive, which always has a kind of librarian kind of feeling to it, but there's certainly a sense of unease, foreboding, who knows. It's been a difficult week, clearly, for Gary Rowett and Millwall after that awful display up at Blackpool last week, 1-0 loss. Strangely, West Bromwich Albion are just coming onto this pitch single-handed. Here come the Lions after them. To good applause. It's been a difficult week. I think we've got two crucial games ahead of us. 72 hours that could be big for Gary Rowett. Losing in those drab circumstances up there at Blackpool was about the very last thing that we need. Certainly 942 that went up there needed, and he needed. So we need more than anything else today, in my humble opinion, a performance. A result would be nice. More than anything, we need a performance, preferably not getting beat style of performance. Your Millwall team today, listeners. Bart Bielkowski in goal, back line, Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper, Sean Hutchinson. Either side of them on the left, Scott Malone, on the right, Danny Mack. The midfield two, Michael Keefton-Belt, Billy Mitchell, and the front three, Mason Bennett, Benny Gafobe and Ollie Burke. I thought actually looked quite fast and pacey up there at Blackpool from the screen that I was watching. Today's game is clearly, I don't know if it's make or break. I mean, you know, we keep saying make or break, don't we? You know, but it's certainly, I think the season has gone. I don't think that's unrealistic. I think what we do really is playing for pride. It's been a quiet transfer window apart from the arrival of Ollie Burke. Jed Wallace, that situation still remains as an open question. My impression of Millwall's transfer business is an old Elton John album called Tumbleweed Connection from way back when. Tumbleweed Connection. A lonely western town with tumbleweed rolling down the middle of it in the wind. So it's with a sense of, I don't know, all these words are over the top. Trepidation, not trepidation. Anticipation. I'm going to go with anticipation. The game will kick off. West Bromwich Albion in a kind of an Arsenal-style, old-school Arsenal away kit of yellow and blue, with a haphazard design of some sort on the shirt, red numbers. They're going to be attacking the Cold Blow lane. Millwall will be attacking the away end of the first half in accordance with English law since the time of the Venerable Bedes. Michael Keefton-Belt will get us away at the second attempt. And off we jolly will go, as Jimmy Young used to say on Radio 2. Long ball forwards towards Benny Gafobe and headed back from whence it came. Shea Ojo story. I've got loads of stories off the net all week. It's been like nothing happening and loads of stories to compensate for it, I think, as West Brom push forwards here. Shea Ojo is probably going to be remaining on loan with us despite missing the bulk of the season. I don't know what to make of that. It's in the same category as letting one of our top scorers go, Matt Smith. So yeah, the internet version of knife sharpeners have been running all week. The knives are out for Gary Rowett. He needs a performance, as we've said today. Otherwise we may be seeing the Madame la Guillotine being set up in the Den car park. To go all French Revolution on you. All right-sided corner, here we are. Come towards the 4th minute now. That comes in, that's in the middle, that's bouncing around on the line. Somehow Bart falls on it. I don't know how that didn't go in the net, listeners. That was a scuffle inside the Mill 6-yard box inside the first 4 minutes. Somehow Bart saved the day again. Gary Rowett, speaking to the London News Online, says that he's pretty certain that Jed Wallace will remain a Millwall player for this season. And hence the ripostes online. It's almost like signing a new player, the old cliche. think Bart Bielkowski is our most valuable player, to be quite frank, because he saves goals to order, just as we just saw there. As the sun comes out, illuminating a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon in South Bermondsey, flags fluttering in the breeze on the Docker stand opposite. This is West Brom still with possession at the Mill end, it's 27 on the right side. We're under a little bit of cosh early on. There's a ball floated in from the right, that's away, it falls on the volley. That's a great save, miraculous level save by Bart Bielkowski as the striker volleyed from the penalty spot. That's 2 goal-saving saves on 5 minutes. He's gone for a goal kick somehow, but I don't know how he fended that away, listeners. It was reflex. Brilliant save, Bart Bielkowski there. Certain goal. The camera's focusing on Andy Carroll. I presume that was Carroll with the shot then in that case. Lines up against it in the early stages of the game. Millwall loose ball across the back. That's given the ball to the 18 edge of the penalty area. Blasts over. That's poor. I think that was Carroll going from this distance. Andy Carroll blasts high over. There's a minute's applause now for young Isla Kate, who so tragically passed away in the week. We'll try and get some video of this. R.I.P. Isla Caton. Very, very sad news. Pretty much all West Brom pressure, in truth, in these opening first 9, come towards 10 minutes. Right-sided corner. West Brom have already gone close twice with 2 decent saves by Bart Bielkowski. And then chances where they really should have done better. So they could easily have been 2 or 3 goals ahead by this stage. In it comes, it's into the near post. Bart bats it away. Back to the right side. It's going to be another chance to put the ball in. They're going to let it run for a throw-in. There's the 2 on the right in freedom. That's across the face of the Millwall goal. Fucking hell. And, Danny Mack earns a free kick. This is we've dodged 3 great chances now, by my estimation, possibly 4, for West Brom to at least open the scoring, if not add to it. But that's a loose header by the 21. This is now Ollie Burke on the right side. He's got Danny Mack on the flank of him. McNamara chips the ball in towards Jake Cooper. It falls to Scott Malone, who volleys high over the bar. 11 minutes, first chance from Millwall. Difficult chance in truth. So he puts it into the away end. Talking about transfers, listeners. So we talk about transfers. Gary Rowett has been talking about them to the news at Den. He says, we've been having these conversations and they're quite fluid. Whatever that means, I don't know. We've been close with 1 or 2 things this week, but as is usually the case in January, you really get really close and then it just falls away. You've got to move on to the next option, which can take a few days. It's never that simple. It's a difficult job, I think. But I'm being sarcastic, aren't I? The world of football's an odd one. Someone made a great point online the other day about how it's almost like students leaving their homework to the last minute. And it seems to be the way that football works. Everything gets done on the 31st of January. Why that is, I don't know. That's football. It's just how it is. Always has been, always will be, I guess. Just ticking past 19 minutes. It's been 60-40 kind of game. Mostly West Brom coming at us. We have had a couple of opportunities, but nothing of any decisiveness. This is Benik Afobe down in front of us in block 1. He's going to win a throw-in down there. Good effort there by Mason Bennett and Benik. Millwall throw-in, 21 minutes, coming towards the halfway point of the first half. Millwall struggling to get much in the way of fluidity. So I'm going to go all rowity on you, listeners. I've got all rowity. I'm going to start using the word like fluidity in regular everyday speech. Expect more of that kind of talk from me. Nice midfield header won by Keithton Bell there. It falls to Danny Mack. This is now Billy Mitchell in midfield. A lot of yellow shirts around us in midfield, like they're trying to crowd us. I'm reminded of Dave's Army when Captain Mannering has the German circumvention of the Maginot Line explained to him as to how they finished up crossing Holland and Belgium by Sergeant Wilson. which he describes as a Dan Hun trick. Dan Hun trick, and that's what West Brom are doing. They're playing more midfield players than we are. That's a Dan Baggy trick, isn't it? All falls, Danny Mack, 24 minutes, coming down the right side, that ball's over hits. For Ollie Burke, we've not really seen anything of Ollie Burke yet, we'll have to name. A player that's had quite a career so far, including a 13 million pounds. I said that like Del Boy Trosser, 13 million. Moved to Red Bull Leipzig, which didn't work out so much for him. He was talking, I think it was to News at Den. I haven't got the note in front of me, listeners, but he was talking to News at Den about the pressure that these moves and the weight of expectation. That's a lovely ball forward by Ollie Burke to Danny Mack. There's 13 million pounds of the ball there, ball into the middle. This is Benik Afobe who scuffs it, misses it. Beautiful move, beautiful take and pass by Ollie Burke. Great pass, Danny Mack. Just in front of Benik, who couldn't get his foot on it. That deserved the goal, that move. Best move of the game so far from Millwall by some distance. Touch of quality there from Burke. 25 minutes in, listeners, but this is now ball down the middle for Andy Cole. Andy Cole? Not Andy Cole. What's his name? I forgot his name. I'll edit that out. Now a poor ball by Benik. Not quite got it together at the moment, Benik. Danny Mack does the work, does the clean-up, as they say in baseball, the clean-up hitter. Pulls us out of trouble. Well, I hesitate to say this because it's almost certainly going to come back to bite me, but after weathering and riding our luck early on, we've actually started to look a little bit more fluid. To go Rowity on you again, listeners. Long may that continue. That's what he needs to keep himself in a job. I'm going to be quite blunt, because the alternative, if you keep on losing, is that he'll be, I think, shown the door. No manager survives that long with consistent poor defeats. A little bit of pushing and shoving now between Benik and their central defender. Handbags. 27 minutes in. Number 5 has plenty to say to referees. Actually a big bloke. I mean, Benik is not a small guy, but he's a good head above Benik Afobe. But he's clearly not happy with the physicals, which is what Benik has been giving. You just need to raise the quality side, Benik. Bit of advice from a footballer that never made it out of Castle Primary School. No, never made it into their team, listeners, so I'm probably ill-placed to give footballing advice to a professional, but there we are, that's the nature of the football spectator transaction, isn't it? Big shout out to the fan. I don't know your name, really, really sorry. If you listen to the show, do let me know on Twitter, who wanted more talk about rock bands, old school 70s and 60s rock bands. We shook hands. I'm happy to oblige that. I was listening to a great Spotify, which has become a bit of a bad name in music at the moment, with Neil Young taking all of his music off. But anyway, I'm not going to get involved in that, but it was great. John Savage's 69 to 71 playlist, some great stuff I was listening to on the short drive today under the tunnel coming through Bermondsey. Some quite bands like Free, Man, I remember the Birds. Well worth checking out if you stream on Spotify. Millwall pressing forwards now, pushing it back to Billy Mitchell, which is starting to draw West Brom into a little bit of niggle, listeners, which is good, because at first I thought Gary Rowett would be lucky to get out of Zampa Road today still in the job after the first few minutes, but gradually as the half has gone on, we've started to take the game to them, and they're starting to not be very happy about it. There's West Brom coming down there, right? So nice work there by Murray Wallace, man mounting. Saw a great post regarding the highly overpriced Ivan Toney, who's gone for reasons beyond me, like modern footballers, modern life in some ways. He's gone to Dubai and started slagging off his employer, the Brentford Football Club. Fuck Brentford, he said out there on a video, which has now done the rounds on social media in some nightclub in Dubai. Why you want to bite the hand that feeds you, I never quite fathomed, but there we are. Having represented more than a few much less well-paid people as a trade union at my time, and I used to say that to them. Why are you biting the hand that feeds you? You put yourself in these situations. But someone made a great point that Murray Wallace wouldn't do that. He's a nice, solid player, and I agree with that 100%. Murray Wallace is not the kind of bloke that will go to Dubai and slag off Millwall on video. Solid. Ball over the top. This is nicely done by Mason Bennett. It falls to Phobia, couldn't bring it under control. There was almost a moment there of where the time stood still. He's now with Scott Malone on the left. That's a deep cross. It's going to go to Danny Mack, who somehow controls it over on the right side. He does brilliantly well there. Gets bumped. No free kick for that. And then the referee gives a free kick to West Brom for something. Hard to tell what that was. 32 minutes, pushing towards 33 minutes. Hutch beaten to the flight on the left side. This gives West Brom the chance to break forwards. That's great defending by who was that? I think that was Jake Cooper. Great defending Jake Cooper. And somehow got his body between him and the oncoming forward and managed to escort it out for a goal kick. That was excellent defending. Mill need to stay switched on. West Brom just pressing forwards here on our left side. After a lot of early promise, they haven't looked quite as dangerous, but that's tempting the fates. Ball in from the left, that's flashes across the Mill penalty area. No one in there. It's going to be a Mill goal kick. Last few seconds of the first half. There is half time, 0-0. Very, very fraught start for the Lions to the half. I thought we did very well to survive that opening 10 minutes by not even conceding, let alone being 2 or 3 down. But gradually the Lions have done well to haul themselves back into the game in contention. It's a game that can still go anywhere. Stand by what I said about Gary Rowett. There's the referee getting his warm reception as he walks up the pitch. Stand by what I said about Gary Rowett, but there's clearly some quality in the likes of Ollie Burke and a really good performance so far by Mason Bennett for me. So at the break, it's half time, it's 0-0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Teams coming out to what the theatrical world might call mixed reviews at half time. Some people saying this is one of the worst games I've ever seen. I don't think it's that bad. I don't know how many games I've seen, but I've seen a lot worse than this. E.g. last week up there at Blackpool. I think it's going to be a physical contest in the second half, which ought to suit us to some level. I think we actually hauled ourselves back into a game that was getting away from us early on. We could have been, should have been 2 or 3 down, really, with a number of very, very good saves that Bart was making early on. But to still be in it and press forwards and have half a chance, I think is a tribute to the collective. Lions will be attacking towards the Coldborough Lane end in the second half, and it's all to play for, as the official Twitter feed put it. All to play for. Very pernickety referee. He's just pulled West Brom and just kicked it off after. I mean, they've done a double touch on the ball, but it makes no difference. Let's just get the game going. Away we do go finally. West Brom playing towards the away end. As is traditional, according to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles, it's actually listed in there, listeners. One of the first things, one of the first verses written by the Venerable Bede relates to the direction in which Millwall must kick in the first and second half of ye football matches. So I was just wiping my nose as I was speaking there. That's not good podcasting, listeners. You mustn't speak and wipe your nose at the same time. Unprofessional. This is Mason Bennett centrally. He's hustled there. Referee don't seem to see much that's in a blue shirt. He got bumped from behind there. It should have been a free kick in my humble opinion. Ball down the left channel. This is Ollie Burke. He's done well there. Ball into Mill. He falls to Scott Malone. 3 in the middle. Oh, the cross was blocked. That's run past from the left side of the corner. Good start, Millwall. 47 minutes. No corner. Take that back. This is Scott Malone. Surging forwards, dispossessed, it falls to Kieftenbelt. There's a floated ball into Burke. He does well to get the ball. His head volleyed over by Benicophobe, who's having a mare, listeners. It was a nice head down from Burke as the cross came in from the left side. It fells to Bennett. Another difficult chance perhaps, but he volleyed it over. Nothing working for him so far today. This is Bennett now breaking forward, just on the right side of the centre. Billy Mitchell's overlapping him. Can he get the ball in? He can. The ball's to Burt. What can he do? Oh! It's hit the post. Took the ball to the near post. I think it hit the woodwork. Hard to see. Beautiful take, and to get a shot away was very unlucky there. I'll need to see that again on the big screen if they'll show it. I have a sense it hit the woodwork. 49 minutes. This boy showed a couple of touches, real quality touches. You can see why people have paid big money for him in the past. Nothing doing on the screen, listeners. Right start for the Lions to the second half, though. Ticking towards 50 minutes. This is Jake Cooper from the halfway line, launched forwards towards Ollie Burke. Takes and controls it, just takes it wide left. Unfortunately, there was a moment there where he had the goal open, couldn't bring the ball under control. Another ball in from the left, that's going to go for a left-sided throw-in. Dangerous looking player, Ollie Burke, increasingly getting into the game. This is great to see. Nice passing with Keefton Belt to Burke. Ball wide left, this is Mason Bennett. Left side, he's got a man in front of him. Can he get the shot away? He breaks inside, he's put it over the bar. Unlucky. Ticking towards the 56th minute. That was a nice move, Mill. Nice passing, nice break. Bennett maybe should have done a touch better, but he did well to work the space and get the shot away. I was trying to think of what we might do down the den as non-fungible tokens. This is all the rage, listeners. I don't know if you've seen John Terry doing some highly dodgy looking chimpanzees or something. I don't know, they're all dressed in Brazilian kits and Chelsea's kit and God knows what else. Apparently it's the rage. People pay money for this stuff. I find the modern world quite hard to understand at times, and these things are supposed to be unique works of art, if you can call it that. NFTs, non-fungible tokens. I'm thinking that maybe what we should do down the den, the club ought to get on this, is a non-fungible token of someone making a wanker sign towards the away ends. Perhaps a masturbatory gesture combined with the word cunt written across somebody's forehead, something like that. That would sell. I don't know how it's unique if you can screenshot a non-fungible token, but then I was born before the internet was invented, so what do I know? This is Andy Carroll. I think I might have called him Andy Cole earlier on. Forgive me, listeners. I'm getting old. Scott Malone breaking on the left, ball into the middle towards Burke. He just in front of him, just couldn't reach and get on the end of it. I think the boy is desperate to make his mark here this afternoon, listeners. That was a nice move, just in touch of Ollie Burke there. 59 minutes, left-sided corner, West Brom. The referee telling Keefton Belden, one of their forwards, to cut it out. Cut it out. He's saying, still waiting for the corner. In it comes, it's near post, bouncing around, and Bart collects on the line. Wow. One of those freeze frame moments where time stands still. The river of time freezes for a moment. I thought it might bobble around into the net, but Bart fell on it again. Crowd responding, listeners. I think it's been a spirited performance. I mean, that was base camp. We've still got, 27 minutes to go, so it could all still go somewhat wrong for Gary Rowett, but this has not been the kind of lily-livered, patsy performance that we saw up at Blackpool last week, which for me, as I said, is base camp on the ascent of Everest. Yeah, good work, Mason Bennett. Free kick. I thought it was a throw-in. It's actually a free kick, listeners. Scott Malone's going to take it. 66 minutes. Left-sided free kick. In it comes. Floated into the middle. It's bouncing around. It falls to... 1-0 Millwall! Mason Bennett took a deflection. Bennett, I think he scored it. He's claiming it. 1-0 Millwall, 66 minutes. From the left, the ball fell from the header. Mason Bennett can certainly claim the goal. He stabbed it home from close via a deflection, I think. I haven't seen it back since. Just reward for Mason Bennett. He's played really well the whole game so far for me. Rewarded with a goal there. Close range chance. Excellent stuff, Millwall. No replay, unfortunately, so I can't illuminate you any more on that, dear listeners. Looked like he stabbed it home from close, and I think it came off with a West Brom boot, but I'll stand to be corrected when I get a second chance to see it. Let's liven the den up. Now then, hold on to it, Millwall. We've done really well to haul ourselves back into a game that was getting away from us in the very early stages of the match. We've done well to haul ourselves back in, and we've got to hold on to that now. It's an awful decision. We're ticking to all 70 minutes. This is gives them a free kick on the right side of the Mill penalty. It's probably about 30 yards out. I'd imagine a crossing, but we've got to be wary. And it comes, it's deep, bouncing around. Somehow it pinballs its way through quite harmlessly to Bart Bielkowski at the near post. There's a lot more dangerous than that, listeners, but that's how it finished up. A beautiful pink inflected array of clouds above the South Bermondsey's Den. The incinerator plant's picked out in a wonderful pink light. Almost a constable. Not a policeman, the artist. 71 minutes, so I start waxing lyrical about great works of art, great landscape painters. Hutchinson beat by the flight of a ball forwards. Ever has a poor pass from the West Brom midfield. Thankfully, Mill do get a chance to clear it. Beautiful turn by Mason Bennett. Puts it into the Mill. He's defender back covering. I thought there was a moment where he was actually through on goal. Great take and turn from. He's almost in front of the goalkeeper, in front of Bennett Afobe. Mill doing a high press. Full action, listeners. At 75 minutes, 15 minutes to go. Been impressed with Mason, as I've said a few times in this monologue. Ball through. This is balls to Bennett Afobe. He takes some turns. 2-0 Millwall! Great finish, Bennett Afobe! He was having a mare. Now he's not. 2-0 Millwall. Really cool finish from Bennett Afobe. It's game, set and match from Millwall, listeners. Rightly taking the celebrations over on the far side there in front of the east stand. Let's watch that again. Ball in from the left side. Ball forwards. Bennett gets a strike up, clatters off the heels of the defender. He takes it inside him and then slots home very nicely indeed for 2-0. 76 minutes. That feels like a weight lifted off the collective shoulders of the Den, listeners. Now we've got a silly flare thrown from the away end. What's that all about? I really don't. I mean, they're 2-0 down. What's the point? We've got a man with a bucket, just like the Blitz. We've got to fill with sand. That's the end of the flare. Wearing his fire brigade issue beige and yellow high vis. Ollie Burke leaves the field to good applause. He showed some moments of high quality for me this afternoon. This is Tyler Bury coming in. You got a real glimpse, in my opinion, of what Ollie Burke is all about. You can see why big money has been paid for him in the past and why he's so highly rated. It's great to see. Another couple of flares, a flare over in the been thrown into the Millwall seats actually from the away end. Den Express expressing its opinion. Ball breaks. Danny Mack breaking forward. He's got Tyler Bury in front of him on the right side. 77 minutes. What can he do here? Ball's into the middle. It's into the first defender, unfortunately. Ball does stay down the end. It's bouncing around. It's been put into touch. The West Bromwich Albion defence balling each other out. Have given us the right-sided corner. 78 minutes. If they had any ambitions of Premier League football next season, it's very hard to see where it's coming from for West Bromwich Albion, which is like, with some German words, Schadenfreude. The discomfort of your neighbours gives you pleasure. I think it's a good word, Schadenfreude, for a show called Achtung. In comes the left-sided corner. It's bouncing around. It's off the goalkeeper's hands, but it will be brought out by the yellow-shirted defence. We'll do need to keep it tight. Yet another flare gets thrown onto the pitch. Headed downwards, and Bart gets his body behind it. West Bromwich Albion fans embarrassing themselves, listeners. Is this what passes for support? Wankers. Laughable stuff, in my opinion. Young lady along from the road from me has got like a shrill toned voice. Oh dear. Mr. Byfer now having a private word with the West Brom fans. Knock it on the head, son. 3 minutes of extra time to be played. Time allowed. Last 40 seconds of the game, listeners. It's been a very good performance. I think we certainly looked rattled in the opening stage. I think that was nerves as much as being a bit cold. Gradually through the first half, and then certainly for a very strong second half, the Lions have done exceptionally well to hold themselves back into a game against the side. Let's not forget, another one of these ex-Premier League, very expensively assembled sides. I saw 79, 80 million mentioned as a value for their side, West Brom, and we've done really, really well to weather that early tempest and get ourselves back into a very good value 2-0 win. Man of the match for me this afternoon, Mason Bennett, but I want to mention the whole side in truth. There it is, there's the final whistle. Excellent win for Millwall. West Brom looking distraught. I think they can see any ambitions they may have of top flight football looking ever more ephemeral. Lions, well, the season may be just buzzed away from us, but a win's a win, and if you keep winning, you'll rise through the table. That's all we can aim for at the moment. So excellent win. We're going to be back after these messages speaking to Mr. Ben Anthony.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hi Nick, it's Angelo here. Great result today. First half was obviously a bit drab, but second half was absolutely brilliant, mate. I can't remember last time we created so many chances. So yeah, well pleased with that. Obviously West Brom in disarray, but we can only do what you can only play against what's in front of you. But yeah, they were obviously like animals in the first half, weren't they? West Brom, they're just like so aggressive. But we dealt with it. Cooper dealt well with Andy Carroll, and yeah, second half great performance. Bennett brilliant. Burke just looks so bloody dangerous. I can't wait to see him get fully fit. Cooper, mentioned for him because obviously he was up against that Carroll. And Bennett Cafobe, he misses so many chances, but that one that he did take was brilliant. It was a brilliant finish. So yeah, great day. And the greatest thing is, mate, it was only after the game I thought, bloody hell, where's Jed Wallace? We're sort of like getting used to him not being around already, which is weird, but maybe that's the way it's going to be, you know. But yeah, great performance, and look forward to Preston on Tuesday. Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. Barry Moon here. Just putting my 2 pence in about today. I've got to say, I thought it was a wonderful result in the end. First half wasn't the best. Wonderful save from Bart, kept us in it. But other than that, I thought we were the better team. And considering we're playing with 6 first-team players out, and how these people can ask for a row it out is beyond me. Just a man, give him a chance with it. Get the players all back and then see what he does. But I felt today they played for him today. And can I say, I thought Mason Bennett was great. I thought my man of the match, but it's closely followed by Clifton Beld and Danny McNamara. But I thought overall, wonderful result. And I'm really pleased for the boys and us as supporters. We've had to suffer. And this before we always suffer, the Millwall supporters. And a wonderful reception for that young lady who died, unfortunately. Thanks, Nick. Cheers, mate.
Hi, Nick. Matt Richards here. Just walking back from the game. Wow. Well, what a great game. Really enjoyed it. You just don't know what you're going to get, do you? Week in, week out. I mean, the first 10 minutes I thought, blimey, you know, West Brom all over. It's such a physical and strong team. And Bart, how he's made that save, that was a blinding save. And I don't know what would have happened if that gone in. But first half was like kind of quite even, really. I thought it was just battling, wasn't it? It wasn't a great first half. Malone volleyed over, didn't he? But second half, I just thought we just played really well. I like Burke. I think Burke is very direct. I mean, he's got his emotion, and once we know how to use it, then that could be a real strength. But yeah, it was a great performance. Second half really kind of got the crowd going. Bennett, I thought for me was man of the match. From the first half, he was just getting himself involved all over the place, put himself about, and he really deserved his goal. It's great to see his goal, and Phobie, a brilliant second goal. I mean, you know, Phobie misses chances, but you know, the coolness of head, he just slotted that way as if, you know, it's nothing at all. So great win. Let's see if we can follow it up. That's the big question, isn't it? On to Tuesday. Come on, you guys.
Just on my way home from the Den after a very, very solid, second half performance from the Lions. You know, much deserved the 3 points, really. I think West Brom looked poor, especially in that second half. Their side were lower on confidence than we've been of late. Mason Bennett, excellent. Really deserved his goal. You know, not often he lasts the 90 minutes this season, to be honest, but he gave Kipre problems all game, and fully deserved his goal, and an excellent one from Bennett as well to top it off. You know, that's what we want from the Lions. We want more of that. Obviously, it was quite a rugged game at points. You know, a lot of aerial challenges, a lot of big men on the pitch, but Millwall really just turned it on, and we need to see that a bit more consistently. And you know, want to follow that up at home on Tuesday against Preston. But you know, maybe a couple more signings in before the window gets closed before the Preston game. Maybe you're starting to look in the turn of the season around, but it's just about that consistency for Millwall from now on. Ollie Burke looked okay in flashes, you know, still finding his feet, still getting to fitness. So hopefully on a brighter path in 2022 from this result. Hopefully Preston, you know, don't respond too well to a performance like that.
Mike Hayden here, following that excellent 2-0 win against West Bromwich Albion. Didn't we need that, listeners? That's feeling good. The season might be a dead rubber now, but you can never lose that feeling of a good performance and a good 3 points. I know West Brom have been on a really bad run of form, but they're still a top 6 side. You know, they have got some good players. But they're one of those clubs I really dislike, listeners. Their fans just seem to think they have this divine right to be in the top 2 or Premier League. Well, let me put it this way. When you're bringing in Andy Carroll on a free transfer, and basically your tactics are to try and lump it to the big man up front with a load of busted flush players in your side, there's no way you will be anywhere near that top 2, I would tell you that. I thought they were useless, and I thought their fans were also a disgrace today. You know, who rips up our seats, eh? That's it's just not on. I mean, you can't be throwing seats on the pitch in this day and age. That was a disgrace, and I hope they do get a fine because of that. I mean, we get enough fines, don't we? Do you know what I mean? We get enough bad press. It's about time a scummy club like that got some bad press because they deserve it. But anyway, on to our performance. I thought brilliant. You know, it was. We had a couple of good chances in the first half. We really should have scored. I mean, Scott Malone had a bit of time with that volley. He could have brought it down and put it away. You know, a couple of missed touches and stuff like that. Burke played in McNamara, and that ball over just ahead of Afobe I thought was really unlucky. But then we really hit them hard in the second half. I think Rowett must have really shoved the rocket up the arse in a positive way, I think, saying, look, we can beat this side if we pull ourselves together. And you know what we really did? We had loads of chances. Unfortunately, you know, we took two of them. Mason Bennett was absolutely superb. He had their right back on toast all day, and he was a lot smaller than him, but he continuously out-muscled him, and you know, he just did the business against him. Afobe took his goal really well. He's a real danger when he's one-on-one with a defender like that, and you'd always bank on him finishing those chances, and you know, he did. Keefton Beld, I think, had a poor game at Blackpool last week, as did pretty much everyone, to be honest. But, you know, he's not had a lot of game time, and I thought he was really good today. He's just everywhere. You know, he's not the best ball-playing midfielder, but, you know, he's one that will give it 100%, and he breaks up play well, and, you know, you need that in your side. So I think he played well today as well. But as I say, Bennett, man of the match for me. Let's try and follow it up against Preston in the week. And, you know, let's see where we go. But yeah, feeling good after that one, a positive Millwall result, and I hope you all have a pleasant weekend, because I will now. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back after a break, dear listeners. Joining me on the show now in a much happier frame of mind than we both expected at the start of today's proceedings, Mr. Ben Anthony. Welcome back to the show, Ben.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Well, I'm happy, and we exchanged messages, DMs earlier on, didn't we? Wondering what we're going to get today. And as we were just saying off air, if I haven't learned after 50 years of following Millwall that you get exactly what you don't expect week in, week out, I never will learn that lesson, because that was a really strong win and a really strong second half performance, I felt. How did you see today's game, mate?
Yeah, for the first time this season, really, walking to the Den, I didn't have that feeling of we could get a result. This was one of those days where I sort of went in thinking we might nick a draw if we're lucky, and somehow we managed to turn it around. We've had it a few times where he's been down and out, and we've lost a couple of terrible games, and he's managed to pull a result out of the bag in the next game. Just when you thought he was out, he pulled himself back in, kind of thing. Absolutely.
I mean, he seems to be. Was it Napoleon said about give me lucky generals, don't give me good generals, give me lucky generals. And I think Gary Rowett is a lucky general, because, you know, I mean, there's no secret. I don't think we're saying anything that people won't have been aware of. I mean, the rumblings were around the internet all week. I mean, I must admit, at the end of the first 10 minutes, Ben, when I think West Brom had a couple of decent shots on goal, miracle saves like we come to expect from Bart. I thought if he's still in the job by 5 o'clock at that stage, I thought we'd be lucky. But we did really well to claw our way back into the first half, and then to take the game to West Brom in the second half. And I've got to take my hat off to the squad, but also to Gary Rowett, because, you know, if you dish it out to a manager, you should be prepared to praise too. And I thought that was just what was needed today. It was a real tonic for the whole stadium. Everyone was there.
Yeah, you could tell that second half, the way the crowd lifted. You could tell that half time, I think, came at a good time. I think we were struggling, particularly that first sort of 25 minutes. We were struggling. Yeah. And then I think we managed to sort of calm them down a little bit and keep them out of the game for the sort of latter part of the half. And I was sort of thinking around about 40 minutes, there was a lot of people heading to the bar and heading to the loo, and sort of nothing was happening. The crowd was quiet, other than the referee being a bit shit. There was nothing to talk about. So I think half time came at a really good time. And then I think second half, we just went for it. And it was so nice to see that. We've been crying out this season for our Millwall side to just go for it. And
yeah, Millwall style. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And we looked tough. Like they were knocking us over all the time, and we were just getting back up, getting on with it. There was a couple of times when Malone was knocked over and he just got up and got on with it. And we were pushing for first and second balls for once, and really trying to play positive football. And it was such a difference, and something that was really nice to see.
I think it was Steve Evans asked me on Twitter earlier on, what does Gary Rowett say to them at half time? Because we certainly came out enlivened in the second. We weren't bad at the end of the first half, I thought, Ben. I mean, I think you're right. We were clinging on for grim life by about the halfway point in the half, and we'd really dodged a couple of bullets because Bart made one save. I think I described as a miracle in real time. It was a top quality save. Let's try and get a bit of perspective away from the match. But by the end of the half, we were we kind of clawed our way back into it, and that takes steel. And I think that's what you're touching on there, mate, because that's what really stood out. That was a proper Millwall performance. That was a group of players that will not, no one's under any illusion that, we're the best team in the division, but they were not going to accept being pushed around lightly today. And that's all you really want to see at the Den, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the wonder save you're talking about, I sit in the cold blow lane.
Right, okay.
You sit not directly behind the goal, but not far from behind the goal. And it was the perfect angle for me. You could see just how good that save was in about 5 minutes. I thought there's no way that's not going to be a goal.
No.
And somehow Bart managed to get down and claw it out from the corner. And you have to give him massive credit today, particularly the first half. He was a big part of keeping us in that game and giving us the possibility to turn it round, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, he's making an ever increasing case to be classed in amongst Mill's best ever I've seen. And only the very, very best will get in front of him. I mean, he's edging towards that point now. I think that he's a fantastic goalkeeper. He saved a good couple of goals for us today, which would have made a very different game of it if we'd have conceded that early, because I think confidence would have really ebbed away from us. As it was, confidence flowed into our veins, especially in the second half. I mean, I want to dish out some praise generally to the whole team, really, Ben, because and even the player that I would have said was having a bit of a mare, which was Benicophobe, who missed a couple of chances and a couple of balls got away from him in the first half. But he could come good in the end. Didn't give up, and came good in the end. Yeah.
And you could see the relief on his face when the ball went in. The celebration was massive for him. You could tell he was having a bad day at the office, and he took that chance. And he's had a few where he very nearly got on the end of it and just couldn't. I do kind of think with him, his first touch is a bit dodgy, isn't it? It
can be. That's probably why he's at Millwall, Ben.
Yeah. The reason he's with us is mostly because of that first touch, I think. But I mean, I'd love us to sign him. I think he's perfect for us, and he gets the crowd, and the crowd get him.
I think it's a mutual response. I mean, and that steal that we saw throughout the game today, which is a really welcome thing because we've not seen much of that lately. But that was led, and you're right. He didn't give it up, and it would come good in the second, like a movie, where you need the happy ending after the initial struggle of the protagonist. I also want to mention Mason Bennett, who was my man of the match today. I don't know who you might go for.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, I mean, work rate, willingness to chase lost causes. He was winning us free kicks when he had no throw-ins, when he had no right to in the corner. Everything you might want from a Millwall forward, and of course that crucial first goal that really lifted the weight off of everyone's shoulders. I've not seen it since.
He won the free kick for the goal as well. It was him being a little bit of a pain in the arse. Which he does very well. Did it take a deflection? You were near it to it. I mean, I was a long way away. He seemed to get a close range
shot on goal, which I had a sense it was deflected in, but I didn't see the replay and I haven't seen it since. So, speaking very raw, listeners, recording straight after the game here.
I think it was deflected. I think it was just close, and he just put his foot through it.
Right.
I don't remember there being a deflection.
Okay,
Honest,
that was long distance. Yeah.
Yeah, finally seeing the ball go in the back of the net. I'm not sure how much of it I actually remember and how much of it was my imagination.
Time seems to slow down in these moments, listeners, and you're right. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen any exciting play at the Den. So when it does happen, it's almost a slight sense of disbelief that you're watching it unfold in front of you. So really, really well taken chance, and that gave us a precious 1-0 lead, which is always a fraught lead at the Den, isn't it, Ben? I mean, you're never entirely comfortable with it, but we did press on. And they actually started forcing errors and loose balls from West Brom. I thought looked quite ragged by the end. I mean, for an expensive side, I thought they looked. They weren't happy with each other. They were digging each other out. It was a glorious sight to behold as a Millwall fan, to watch the other team collapse in front of your eyes. And I think it was a loose ball that led to or poor defending, certainly from the ball forwards, that gave Afobe the chance to finish, which he did very well, very clinically for a second.
Yeah, very cool finish, that one. And there were some, they were making mistakes in the middle, and we started to take advantage. I think that whole front three deserves some plaudits. I think Burke grew into it, and as he started to move into the middle more, he became a big threat. And the other thing I noticed with him is he's got a real leap on him. He's could be a danger in the box with headers as well. But yeah, I thought Bennett, Afobe, I thought Mason Bennett and Ollie Burke were a really good team at the front there.
And the other thing I want to say about Burke, I make you right. I think he I suppose, like going into any new environment, it takes you a while to bat your way in. But by from about the midway from the first half and then onwards through up until he was substituted, his quality came from. I mean, some of the touches and some of the moments, you could see why millions of pounds have been paid for him, Ben. Last week when I was watching the stream from Blackpool, I thought, it looks quick, but I don't really get what the hype has been about. Today, yes, I could see why the hype is there, because he had some real moments of quality, uplifting moments, I thought, Ollie Burke. Going to be a great player for us if he can keep that going.
Yeah, and he was more of a forward today. Last week when he came on, he was more of an out-and-out winger, and they were trying to get him to put crosses in. And we haven't seen much of a cross from him yet. But I think certainly cutting into the middle a little bit more, he seems to be an option for us. Hopefully, he's still got time to bed in, as you say. I don't think he's quite match fit yet, but
no, which I think is probably why he was substituted. But there was a moment in the first half. I think he released Danny Mack along the right side, and it was the most beautiful ball. One of those moments where it reminds you why you go to watch football, because it lifted you out of your seat. It was that good.
That led really to chance as well. Danny, Afobe didn't quite get his foot on it.
Yeah, it was just like about an inch or two in front of him, I think, which was not helping his. I'm sure it was playing on his mind through the games, which, up until the goals, that's why it was so great to see. But I also want to praise the defence. I thought we did a really good job today after the initial shakiness, which, yes, we had a stroke of luck, really, and stroke comes skill in the sense of Bart Bielkowski keeping them at bay. But after that, the defence really took control of it. I thought by the end of the game, they had pretty much, again, expensive forwards in their pocket. There, Ben. West Brom have paid some money for some of their players.
One thing they seemed to have was the threat of a header from Andy Carroll. We put Cooper on him, who was, I know, it seemed to be taller than Carroll, which was quite nice to see. And Cooper managed him really well out of the game, and then Hutchinson and Wallace did a lot of the work to sort of sweep up around them too.
I agree, and I mean, obviously Andy Carroll was going to get stick at the Den. And he's had his career, and we all know that the Andy Carroll kind of struggles with injury and whatnot. I've always thought he was a great striker and ought to have made more of himself and ought to have been a better player, because he had the potential and the skill and the ingredients. Which takes me to my praise for the defence, Jake Cooper especially, because he kept a top-level striker, and that's what Andy Carroll should and arguably is have been in his career. And I think to keep him quiet is top work by Jake. The whole defence, and I include Murray Wallace actually, who's really strengthened up the left side. I mean, without him, Malone does look like a little lost lamb running around in the fields. With Murray behind him, it gives Malone more freedom to get forwards. Not his best game today, Scott Malone, but he did a job today, I thought. And I'd say the same probably about Danny Mack as well on the right side. One thing I do like about Danny Mack is he's so committed, and that really plays to the Millwall sensibility, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think going forward, Danny Mack and Malone actually are better in attack than they are in defence. I think Danny's sort of lack of years of experience showed a little bit today. They were making moves around him that he was then having to try and catch up, and he did it. He kept them at bay, but it was a tough game for him today, I think.
Hats off to the midfield. I've seen some praise for Kieftenbelt and Billy Mitch and midfield. And I wanted to mention them before we finished the review of the game today, because I thought both there's one of the best games I think Kieftenbelt has played for us. He really put himself around, especially in that second half. Billy Mitch we know about, really, because we know he's going to give everything. There's been some question marks over Kieftenbelt, but today I think he answered a few questions out there.
It was a perfect game for him. It had to be a bit defensive. We had to try and get a foothold in that midfield, and I think he did that brilliantly. He didn't go over the top, but he's had a few criticism about just booting a player up in the air for the sake of it. And he didn't do that.
Not so much of that today. No.
Yeah, and I think in the first half, I think Billy Mitchell was a little bit quiet, but he grew into as the team grew in confidence. I think he grew in confidence, and he became a bigger part of the game as it went on. They did well. I think one criticism for me, just a little bit, is we do when we've got the ball, and this idea of us keeping possession, which is what we all want us to do. Do pass around the midfield quite a lot, and it would be nice to see us find a way to get that midfield a little bit more involved at times. I mean, it's a major criticism. We played brilliantly, but it's just one thing. I think we pass along the back and down the sides a lot. And we don't go through the middle as much as I'd like to see.
No, I think you're right. I think we're still fumbling towards a style. Today, it was more apparent that there was a style, and I think when it's played well as it was today against the old Mill thing, we play great against the big teams and struggle against the lesser lights in the division. I think that probably remains. But today was a big game. I mean, big game for Gary Rowett, really, Ben. I mean, he said after the game, I think speaking to Richard Corley about how he's been around the block enough times to know the pressure that's on a manager with a series of losses, 3 wins on the spin. Your job starts to be openly spoken about, and 4 losses as it could have been so easily today. That you're really staring down the barrel. So I think there's a real weight, the sense of a weight being lifted. I don't know if I'm overcooking it really, but it was around the den today. I thought the whole
funny
place.
Watching, once we'd scored, it was quite funny watching the West Brom fans react the way they did, and the chance towards them. And it almost felt like had it gone the other way, it could have been a reversal.
It could have been us.
It was a bizarre mirror image today at the Den. But yeah, the biggest victim today, I think, has to go to Steve Kavanagh for his anti-Flair sniffer dogs and his "Don't Be a Tosser" campaign. That was a real win, wasn't it?
Well, the tossers were all in their way in today. I don't know how that plays out with I don't know what the FA had with how they look at these things. But anyway, we'll see, because there was about 3 or 4 flares that came on, and a seat which was thrown on as well, like a frisbee style. So they embarrassed themselves there big time. The other big talking point, which I think everyone that was there couldn't help but be touched by it, Ben, was the 7th minute ovation for young Ida Caton. I think that was one of those moments where, we all know Millwall, we all know the club, but I think sometimes it just takes your breath away, the generosity of spirit of the fans of our club, and that was that was one of those moments, really uplifting, I felt.
Yeah, she's an amazing person, isn't she? And touched so many people. Not
Absolutely.
many could unite West Ham and Millwall fans in the way that she did, and her family as well. And I think it was a very touching tribute, and was
nicely done by the club as well, Ben. I thought, the image was nice picture of her wearing her West Ham shirt, and she gets a standing ovation around the Den. I think that speaks volumes for the Mill support.
And there's lots of slogans and sort of marketing phrases and things thrown about football, but I think "Cancer has no colours" is one that really it really means something to Millwall, and I'm sure lots of other fans. And I think I think it was a very well managed and very touching tribute today.
Yeah, and reading some of the internet comments, I've also had messages and stuff, so I know that the gesture means a lot to those who have lost the most, which is obviously the Islas family. So, I think everyone contributed to that. So well done, everyone, I think, at the Den today. Just to close us, Ben, I mean, today was a big win. We've got another game on Tuesday night, Preston. A lot of, it's still the table is volatile. I mean, we could easily put together a string of wins as we were able to put a string of losses together. So, is the season over for you, or does that sixth spot look a little too far out of distance? Or I suppose it's game by game in some ways at the moment.
Yeah, for me, I think it is. I think as much as we're sort of saying we're too far away from the relegation zone, so we're safe, I think we're just as far away from the top six. I haven't looked at the table, but I don't think there's much of a difference. So I think it's too far now. I think we've let it go too much. So I think consolidate and try and build for the summer, hopefully, and have another go next year. But
yeah.
If we can get that right wins together, never say never, I guess. But I think it's too much for us now.
We've still got the final day of the transfer window to go. You never know. Or is it going to be Jed? It's going to be Jed, isn't it? It's like a new signing. That the cliche will have it there. So
I'm beginning to wonder if we should change our name to And Millwall, because obviously all this gossip news of all these clubs, and we're always the last one. It's always Nottingham Forest, West Brom, Fulham, and Millwall are interested. We're like the afterthought.
That's a good idea.
Are you holding your breath for a big signing up front or something?
No. If we do sign anyone, we won't have heard of them. I mean, I suppose it's an open story. Really, we still don't know. Jed wasn't in the team, wasn't on the bench today, so I suppose he's still officially injured. All joking aside, we've still got tomorrow and then Monday, and for reasons that defeat me, the football world does all of its business in the last few hours of transfer deadline day. It's like kids doing their homework. It has to be done the night before, So we'll see. We may be surprised. I have a feeling that Gary Rowett still hasn't given up on the season, and I think. We may have done, and those of us in the stands that might have, or those that went to Blackpool last week might have given up on it. But I have a sense that, despite all the criticism, despite the feeling that he would have got standing down there in some of the poorer games, I still think he's got ideas that we can still make a run at it. So who knows? We live in hope, Ben, don't we? As Millwall fans, we live in hope, but just expect.
When he first arrived, there was a story that came out about him going into the dressing room, and he asked the players, "How far off the top six are we?" And I can't remember. It might have been Hutchinson or someone said that they also said how many points away from the relegation zone they were, and Rowett put a stop to that, and he said, "Don't look at that because we're looking up." And I liked that. That felt like a real change from Neil Harris, which was one criticism of Neil Harris, was that it was let's get safe before we worry about anything else.
Yeah,
and Rowett came in with that let's push on and let's look upwards. So I'd like to think that he's still got that attitude and that mentality, and I'd like to think that the players in the squad will start to have that as they grow in confidence now.
Yeah, I mean, many's the listener that might laugh at this, but I think he is personally ambitious, and I don't think that failing with Millwall will help his CV. I'm sure he could find the words in a job interview to talk his way past it, but I think better to have a success with Millwall than to leave it with a cloud over your head. And I think his career so far tells you that he does see himself as certainly a Premier League to Championship shuttle manager. And, if you fail at Millwall, you probably may not get the chances again to become that. So I still think he hasn't given it up on it. So I think it may be an interesting Monday. Let's keep our fingers crossed, and, we may yet sign some obscure Belgian centre forward that scored 20 goals in the Jupiler League Division 3 or something,
With the promise of a sofa if he scores a goal.
Huge thank you, Ben Anthony. Thanks for coming on after the football today, Ben. Really appreciate it, mate. And hope to speak again very, very soon, maybe after another victory like we had today. Take care of yourself, mate. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Achtung Millwall. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a cheeky little review. Arrivederci Millwall. Till next time.
Who do you want to watch?